Let me take you guys back to 2009. You just get back from school, still reeling from watching the cinematic masterpiece that was Land of the Lost for the first time earlier in the year.
Yes, I am lobotomized. It's how I'm so silly and fun.
And you decide to play the new Assassin's Creed game that just came out. You don't really know anything about it, but the first game was alright. All of a sudden, you're introduced to arguably one of the best video game characters of all time and have some of the most fun you've ever had, jumping across rooftops, stabbing red hat people in the neck with some wrist knife thing, and getting to see that stupid fat younger brother who keeps asking for feathers hung with the rest of your family.
I want those feathers.
What for?
It's a secret.
If I get them for you, will you go back inside?
Yes, I promise.
Sure, the game had issues. The parkour wasn't very reliable, and at any point you could launch yourself off a tower while trying to collect feathers for that same stupid, fat ghost of an annoying, stupid little brother. The AI of the enemies wasn't great, and sometimes the ragdoll animations would take a while to kick in, causing enemies to float on the edge of buildings for a bit too long, which for 8-year-old me was the most annoying thing I had ever seen in my life, other than that cunt Koshi talking shit on TV every morning before school. Flash forward 14 years and it's now 2023. Technology has improved massively, so much so that virtual reality is a real thing that kind of works sometimes. Cars can drive themselves and you can activate anything in your house using just your voice. Gaming especially has come a very long way since 2009. Boobs have gotten smaller, video games are well on their way to looking indistinguishable from reality. Some games have hundreds of branching pathways that are open to you, changing with every small and big choice you make. Virtual reality dinosaur-human intimacy is finally reality, and the new Assassin's Creed game has finally released once again, and after a trilogy of absolutely gigantic RPG games that divided the Assassin's Creed fanbase, the new Assassin's Creed Mirage features a return to form with a familiar setting in a smaller, more focused map. A traditional assassin main character sporting a cool, white, hooded assassin outfit, along with returning mechanics from the early games, such as simple and janky parkour that makes your enemy fly off buildings, and just as bad enemy AI, bringing me right back to the aliens caught on camera Call of Duty Zombies Easter egg GTA San Andreas Bigfoot sighting filled mind with the same 8-year-old me from all those years ago. Now, I actually had a lot of fun with this new Assassin's Creed. I even got the Platinum Trophy for it, but the entire time I couldn't help but be kind of disappointed by the return to form. You see, I and many others aren't the same young child or person that was there when Assassin's Creed started to take off. Things have changed and progressed since 2009 in some big ways, especially with Assassin's Creed. Now, I've played every single Assassin's Creed game as soon as they've come out since the second one, and have some amazing memories of being excited all year to see how Ubisoft improves upon a franchise that I and many others love so much. But unfortunately, that excitement all but disappeared with the recent trilogy of RPG games. Now, I love RPG games as much as the next greasy KFC eating young adult. In fact, most games I play now are RPG games. Not for any ulterior reason.
I want to taste you. Perhaps tonight, perhaps later. But I want it all the same. Do you?
But the new trilogy of Assassin's Creed was pretty hit and miss for me, and a lot of others. Where there was a well-written, charismatic character like Bayek in Origins, there was the bland, horribly voice-acted Alexios.
If that's what you think, Alexios, you must have hit your head on the way down.
I've heard this story, and not from a liar like you. And never call me Alexios.
Oh, scary! Oh, shiver my timbers!
Where there was interesting RPG mechanics such as gear and skill trees, there was also the watering down of mechanics that had been built up for years. Assassin's Creed was on a path that improved upon itself with every release, adding new and interesting ways to sneak around guards, or smoother, more intuitive parkour, and animations that made you feel like a guy wearing a white hood. I don't understand why these things needed to be scrapped in exchange for the more arcadey feeling RPG mechanics. While I do enjoy the more sprawling, massive open feeling that the modern games give me, I can't help but want to have my cake and eat it too. That's where Mirage being announced comes into play, with Ubisoft promising the return to form that the franchise needed, but in my opinion, doing a pretty shit job of it. Assassin's Creed as a franchise had years of improvements and tweaks to their gameplay that was completely rebooted with the release of the modern trilogy. Now you might be sitting there asking yourself, what the actual fuck do you guys want? You were asking for a return to form for the same shit that the early games did, and you got it, and now you're complaining about it. Well, the return to form that fans were asking for was to go back to the path that ended with Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Unity. Years and years of building led to those games. Building that led to the fantastic animation, detail, and polish that Unity ended up having after a few cheeky patches. And even the, in my opinion, slightly underrated Syndicate had it during its cutscenes and combat. For example, in Assassin's Creed Mirage, assassinating a character that is in almost any position besides standing up will result in a ridiculous death animation in which your character slices randomly in the direction of the enemy, causing them to fall over dead. The assassinations and combat in this game have nowhere near the effect that even games as old as Assassin's Creed 2 had, in which you can almost feel the force behind Ezio's hidden blade. Again, this alone isn't a big deal, but when the entire game is full of moments and gameplay that falls embarrassingly short of the older games, it builds up that feeling of disappointment that I mentioned earlier. And while I am glad that none of the Assassin's Creed Mirage cutscenes involve my two biggest hates in this world, Koshi from Sunrise and that ugly, flat, creepy piece of shit feather-loving cunt, Petruchio, I do miss having the characters on my screen not look slightly like half plastic-filled lobotomized mannequins trying to prove that they're sentient. For example, let's compare a cutscene from Mirage to one of my favorites from Brotherhood.
What fresh brew do you have for me today, Kong?
No brew until Luca returns my crate. But if you have come to buy tea, I have many recommendations.
Kong, it is me, Basim.
Huh. 你是谁啊? Who?
Basim.
I am not an idiot. Everyone claims to be someone I know. Answer me this. What tea did my Basim like?
I do not have to stand for this.
The assassins murdered him.
Why did you not stop them?
As if I could. It was not my decision to attack Monteriggione. It was yours. It is high time you took responsibilities for your actions.
My accomplishments! Despite the constant interference of failures like you!
You are not going anywhere. I have the piece of Eden.
Get out of my way, old man.
I gave you everything, and yet it's never enough.
Cesare! He intends to poison you!
You would not listen to reason.
Father, do you not see? I control all of this. If I want to live, I live. If I want to take, I take. If I want you to die, you die!
All up, I don't think Mirage is terrible, by any means, but I do think if Ubisoft is going to attempt a return to form, they need to go all in or nothing. Creating a traditional Assassin's Creed game on the bones of the RPG trilogy doesn't do much in my opinion, but do everything the older games did half as good. I understand that it isn't as easy as rebuilding a best-selling franchise from the ground up, once again, but they can't please everybody. I and all the other players of these games can't have their cake and eat it too.